1.0, convene open session, procedural business, 4:00 p.m. 1.1, call to order. The regular board workshop of the Room of the World Unified School District is called to order on May 6, 2021 at 4:01 p.m. 1.2, roll call. Trustees to identify themselves by first and last name to formally establish quorum. Dana Ridland, Area 2. Cindy Gardner, Area 3.
Gordon Garudin, trustee area 5.
Bill Mellinger, trustee area 1.
Natalie Lindeman, trustee area 4.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance, 1.3, Pledge of Allegiance, led by, Mark, it's on you.
Hand over your heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 2.0, adoption of agenda. 2.1, proposed revisions and deletions.
None.
2.2, proposed addition of agenda items pursuant to GC 54954.2 B12.
None.
2.3, proposed adjustments in the order of business.
None.
2.4, adoption of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Who's second? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. 3.0, closed session declarations. 3.1, public employee superintendent evaluation formal. 3.2, conference with labor negotiator, government code 54957.6. Todd Beal, labor negotiator for Room Teachers Association and California School Employees Association, number 417. Michelle Murphy, negotiator for unrepresented groups. 4.0, public testimony. 4.1, public comment period for items listed on this agenda within the subject matter jurisdiction of the governing board. The public comment period is administered by state law and is the point in the meeting set aside for members of the public to share their opinions with the board. Open meeting laws do not permit the board to engage in dialogue or answer questions. Due to the modified meeting procedures during the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, if a member of the public would like to address the governing board on items listed on this agenda, an email should have been submitted to the executive secretary to the superintendent by noon today. Written comments will be read aloud and are limited to 5 minutes per item. The board limits the total input time for items within the same subject to 20 minutes. And we do have public comments. So 4.2, public comments. See above for instructions to submit comments. I'll go ahead and read them in the order received. So the first one, board members. Noon duties, child supervision have been required to do work that was outside our normal required duties. We were expected to help teach the children on the computers at the child supervision room. We helped the teacher assemble and create the homework packets that were distributed to the students. We are assisting the custodians every Wednesday with the deep cleaning of the campus and even painting the campus. Finally, our assistance is still requested by the Child Nutrition Department for lunch count and lunch distribution every day while students are on campus. We also continue to assist them with food distribution every Wednesday for the children and community. This year has been a challenging year, but we have persevered, even though we may feel overlooked and underappreciated. We know we were making a difference for every hungry child we served. We have continually adapted and shifted our skills to help the productivity of the school and assist families through this pandemic. With everything presented, we ask that you would please consider a one-time stipend of funds to the classified employees for our hard work and dedication during the COVID-19 pandemic. Sincerely, the noon duties / child supervisors, Jennifer Thompson, Marla Perez, Shannon Magdaleno, Juliet Cayo, Kim Wright, and Mary Gonzalez. It looks like this is from Valley of Enchantment. Board members. We are hardworking child nutrition workers and leads who love their job, the children in the community that we serve. We have been frontline workers since the beginning of COVID-19. Our team has been serving since 2 weeks after the school closed its doors due to COVID-19. Even though we may feel overlooked and underappreciated, we know we were making a difference for every hungry child we served. Child nutrition food services have been required to do work that was outside the realm of our normal duties. We routinely did more with less and expected to generate high volume results. We have handed out bags of food every Wednesday to the community, and now that children are back, we are providing meals to both the children at school and the community. We have continually adapted and shifted our workload to feed the children and help us as families through this pandemic. With everything presented, we ask that you would please consider a one-time stipend of funds to the classified employees for our hard work and dedication during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. Janet Fry, Debbie Maddox, Karen Home, BLE Elementary School. Board members, my name is Renee Stevens. I am the custodian at Valley and Chapman Elementary School. I've been helping Ren serve our community since March of 2020. I've not only done my duties, which have changed and multiplied due to the different needs of my coworkers, including assisting child nutrition by putting together over 400 meals weekly to feed our community. In the meantime, I've been working with constant changes in my cleaning requirements to get school back to where it used to be before the pandemic. We are all essential workers and deserve to be treated as such. Please consider including classified employees in the one-time stipend. Thank you. Renee Stevens. To whom it may concern, I am writing to explain the extra work I've done the last year to justify the stipend request. I am the health aide at the high school. I returned to work in August 2020. At that time, I had to learn a new position. Since August, I have been making attendance calls to verify absences. This work is not even close to my job description, and I've been in my position for 22 years. I am asking the board to consider the request made during negotiations to give stipend pay to the classified employees. Sincerely, Sandy Ingold. Dear board members and administration, I'm writing to ask that a one-time bonus of $750 be granted to all room classified employees. I would ask you to consider the following. Nearly 100% of room classified employees returned to on-site work in August 2020, and most have remained on site throughout the year. Throughout the school year, classified employees honored an MOU to provide work wherever necessary. Classified employees worked through the year on deferred maintenance and cleaning projects to prepare all schools for the return of students. Over 80% of classified staff voted in support of the students' return to in-person instruction in the first half last fall, and this percentage has only increased. The district recognized a six-figure savings in budgeted substitute costs for classified employees. IAs and other instructional staff members provided lessons and support from home through the utilization of their own resources. The request matches the announced bonus awarded to RTA, and I believe it is only fair for the same bonus to apply to all room employees. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Julie Perkins, itinerant assistant for elementary PE. From noon duties at LAE, if there is a monetary stipend to distribute to room employees, all employees deserve this. Room employees worked above and beyond their normal duties during this unprecedented time in our world. We rose to the task and worked together as a team to accomplish what needed to be done. We, the noon duties at LAE, were grateful to return to work in August 2020. It was not a normal school year. Things were uncertain and scary, but we adapted and stepped it up any way we could. A lot of responsibilities were thrown at us. We managed a child supervision room so employees could leave their kids to Zoom and distance learn. We cleaned and scrubbed walls. We worked on the school grounds, raking, picking up leaves, weeding, and sweeping. We painted the whole second grade wing at LAE with some help from bus drivers. We painted the library, the computer room, the speech room, and the office. We helped the office with projects. We helped the teachers with projects. We assisted the kitchen in providing meals to our communities. We help with our schools to plan to return kids to school safely. The noon duties were not alone in their hard work over the last eight months. Bus drivers, office staff, teachers, aides, custodians, child nutrition all worked tirelessly to accomplish what needed to be done with the ultimate goal of having kids return to school. None of it was easy. It was difficult and stressful. We all worried about COVID, the kids, our families, our coworkers. We support all of room employees getting special recognition and even a monetary reward if one is available. We are a team, a family, and we accomplished so much this year as a team. Sincerely, LAE Noon Duties, Carol Jandrell, Joanne Jacobs, Julie Paxton, Kim Paxton, Trina Sattel, and Lindsay Brown. Greetings, school board members. On behalf of Rim of the World Unified School District classified staff members, we are collaboratively writing this letter to request that classified members are equally acknowledged by the district and the board in support of an equal one-time stipend for classified staff members for the purposes of transitioning to and from a distance learning model to a hybrid model. While we are pleased, certificated district members have been awarded a one-time stipend for their efforts. We speak for ourselves as well as many of our fellow classified coworkers, and we cannot help but feel undervalued as only one classification has been granted a stipend while our classified staff is not acknowledged equally, while heavily supporting and experiencing equally strenuous transitions. Although it may seem trivial to compare classifications, we would like to acknowledge just a fraction of the weight last year's transitions brought upon our classified staff members, and these briefly listed experiences are worthy of an equal stipend and acknowledgement from our school district and board members. Certificated employees were granted the ability to work from home during these unprecedented times and initial transitions. Our district's classified employees were quickly labeled essential workers and required to report to their in-person work daily throughout the pandemic. Without having a medical reason provided by a physician, classified employees were expected to take personal FMLA, family COVID leave to tend to the needs of their families or to stay safer at home, which consisted of a reduction in regular pay. These decisions and circumstances have weighed heavily on our classified staff as the livelihood of our families has been challenged and impacted. While certificated employees of the district were working safely at home, our classified staff was reporting on campus and even some with our own children in tow due to school closures, all while completing tasks that have never been asked, pushing us well out of our comfort zones. Some of us and our family members experienced frequent COVID testing and were diagnosed with COVID-19 firsthand while potentially being exposed to it from having to report on campus. During these unprecedented times, although very grateful to have been employed, classified employees' duties were expanded to tasks well out of our job descriptions that have heavily impacted and still are impacting our workloads. Duties such as painting, maintenance, campus beautification, maintaining on-campus presence for picture days, material and meal distributions, providing on-campus support to families, heavy sanitization routines, providing child supervision, receiving and setting up COVID PPE supplies, and heavily impacted administrative office schedule with meetings, tracking students through transitioning, frequently changing protocols and codes through transitions, providing extra duty for students while on campus so teachers can tend to their duties, intercepting and filtering the students' mental health status, initiating welfare checks, new computer systems implemented, office staff providing in-person and over-the-phone tech support with little to no training, and essentially launching a never-been-done-before virtual learning platform for a tiny school district with minimal support, just to name a few. There certainly has not been a shortage of work for classified employees through these transitions. If anything, the workloads have increased by tenfold, and your classified staff is feeling the impacts physically, mentally, and financially. Many of us have made purchases for items for work that have assisted us through the pandemic, academic transitions, without being reimbursed with COVID funds or provided a budget. Although grateful for the resources that were provided to employees by the district throughout the pandemic, the resources or conditions were not always favorable. The pandemic guidelines, regulations, and a carousel of ever-changing dates, protocols, and planning has forced us all into uncomfortable situations brought on by the pandemic. The stress of our ever-changing work environment and workload has impacted us and our families greatly. We write with great pride. Rim of the World Unified Classified staff members have stepped up. We did it. We are doing it and will continue to strive. However, with much gratitude, we ask for your support and acknowledgement. I believe many who are familiar with Rim of the World Unified School District can agree that our classified employees are historically known for doing a lot with a little. We acknowledge this stipend money doesn't buy happiness. However, it helps when many classified employees greatly appreciate the acknowledgement and disbursement of a stipend to not only acknowledge our dedication and efforts in heavily supporting our district and students through these transitions, but to also assist our classified staff members with our extra expenses due to the pandemic, financial costs, and emotional costs. Please do not divide our school district by classifications while providing a stipend to only one group, where these transitions would not have been possible without one group of classifications or the other. Seeing one group of ROWUSD staff be acknowledged and compensated for transitioning implies that ROWUSD classified is undeserving of the same. Thank you for your time and consideration in acknowledging our classified staff with an equal stipend. Gratefully, ROWSD classified employees that have collaborated, composed, approved, and supported this letter: Natalie Granger, Jackie Lopez, Claudia Marsh, Caroline Mason, Rudy Batista, Billy Kiernan, Tracy Hager, Sharon Doman, Judy Purinton, John Williford, Karen Maxey, Kimberly DeLeon, Tomasa McDonald, Elizabeth Harriman, and Luz Pizana. Best regards, Natalie Granger, attendance accountant for MPH. To the district board, as a classified employee, I would like to express my opinion about a stipend for the classified employees. Please take into consideration for the employees who went above and beyond their positions. For instance, noon duties who painted their elementary schools, and as well as bus drivers painted. Health clerks who helped with attendance, making phone calls and staying at their site even during a breakout of COVID-19 at sites. Also, please consider that some employees left their hired site because they were asked and complied with that to help out another site. And by doing that, they got the coronavirus, as well as aides who used their own computers, internet service, and helped the kids on Zoom with classwork. The secretaries who use their own computers and the internet service with no complaints. The classifieds have saved money by not giving subs throughout this time, and there's money in there as well. Governor Newsom giving money to the schools to open earlier in which your district did open. Please consider the stipends to room classifieds, just as the other districts have given their classifieds employees stipends. Thank you, Lisa Colvin. As you know, in March of 2020, the entire county was thrown into panic and confusion with the COVID-19 pandemic. In our district, the response was quick to keep the children at home as well as teachers. However, there were many employees that did not get to stay home. These employees were somehow a different type of essential employee. These employees worked on site throughout the closure of our schools. These employees continued to come to work despite having to spend the extra and costly money on childcare or not fully knowing what the risks may be to their health or their families. Who are these employees? The classified staff and management. For the next 3 months, the majority of the classified staff are still working every day while others were allowed to remain home and continue being paid. When summer came, a majority of the staff were off work, but there were still many classified employees and managers who were required to continue working every day. When school resumed for distance learning, the classified staff were on site working every day. When we implemented a hybrid model, the classified staff were working on site every day. When everyone was sheltering, distancing, and working from home, the classified staff and managers were in the thick of it, coordinating, implementing the continuously changing COVID-19 protocols and COVID testing events, cleaning, assisting in person, organizing, office managing, answering phones, paying the bills, hiring, issuing bus passes, distributing meals, and beautifying the campuses. The workload increased for a majority of these employees. It should come as no surprise that when we heard teachers were receiving a stipend for additional costs for hybrid learning, we thought, what about our additional costs? When teachers received a stipend for returning to work and preparing additional lesson plans, we thought, what about those of us that never left and who have been doing additional work this whole time? This should not be a discussion about classified versus teachers, but why is classified being unrepresented when discussing such items? I am sure the board heard about the certificated stipends prior to them being offered. Did no one consider the other employee classifications that have been dealing with the same issues? It would seem only fair to provide a similar contribution to the staff members that have been handling additional duties while continuing to come to work every day. But does that even go far enough? Is it even fair to say you can have what the teachers receive because you are bringing it to our attention? I think the compensation should even go beyond that of your normal employees just recently began working on site again. The employees that have been here the entire time handling additional duties should be recognized and compensated accordingly. Thank you for your attention to this truly concerning matter. That's the last of the comments. 4.3, RTA and CSEA representatives. Is there anybody from RTA? And CSEA?
Suzanne's on, but she hasn't signed in. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
It says that I can't, okay,
You
start.
can hear you now, Suzanne.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening, school board and district administration. I thank you for always allowing me the opportunity to represent the classified unit of Rim of the World Unified School District. I emphasize unified, which means to make or become a single unit. I will be brief today as there have been many classified that have shared their thoughts and comment during the comments. I also wish to take the opportunity to thank the district publicly for the week of appreciation and celebration of all district staff and for including and valuing classified staff as well as the teaching staff. We do realize that teachers are the stars of the education stage and we all remember our own influential teachers in our lives, but they wouldn't be able to do what they do without the supporting roles of the essential classified workers. It's difficult for me to talk about, tough things, but obviously classified have brought these things to our attention, and we are not easily replaced, and the current sub pool is pretty dried up, and we are concerned that the prospects of hiring subs or replacements for vacant positions are also looking pretty sparse and bleak. We're doing our best to put the word out there that the district will be looking for good people to work for them. But to continue on, as you've heard in all the comments, we don't want to feel undervalued and ununified and left out when one group gets a stipend. We think it's fantastic for them. They deserve it, and we don't have an issue with that. But we believe that getting all staff back on board and to regular duties is an invaluable expense. We have been very cooperative with the district. We relaxed the emergency clause of the contract. We've been on the site within protocols. The district has saved funds from classified employees not using subs while students are not on campus. And perhaps you're not able to call it a stipend, but you can call it a reopening expense, a bonus, an allowance for the preparation for in-person learning, but we believe that classified employees deserve the compensation as well. And I'm sure you don't want feelings of ill will between the district employees. So we ask you to please consider this as part of unifying RIM teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, 5.0, recess to close session. The Board of Trustees